Welcome back to WC Bricks for another episode of building Gotham City in Lego, and the Lego table is looking a complete mess at the moment. And we're going to be making a start on another building, and it's going to be the Gotham Stock Exchange as seen in The Dark Knight Rises, and that is the building that I'm going to be using for inspiration for this build. Now I know at the present I've got a lot of buildings that have been started, such as the Flatiron, we've got the apartment block and the restaurant at the bottom, we've got the GCPD, even the warehouse at the back there hasn't been completed, and I've still got interior details to do to Ace Chemicals, let alone the raised platform area. However, what I want to do is get as many buildings placed down in the city as possible, get all of the road layout all set up, just so I know that I'm going down the right direction with everything. So for example, I made the fire station, I've done probably about 95% of the interior of that, only to realise that it's too deep and I need to make it smaller. So I want to make sure I've got the full layout of this city as I want it to be, and then I know that I can go back and sort of like finish off all of these buildings. Also, it's going to make the city look more interesting having more buildings in there. So rest assured, I will be coming back to these eventually. Without further ado, let's get a Mills plate all made up, and then let's make a start on that building. I'm just trying to map out how I'm going to be having the walls around the Gotham Stock Exchange, and I want this wall to go off at probably a 45-degree angle. Now, one thing I need to do is work out whether or not to have it on this base plate or have it on a larger base plate, say a 48 by 48, and I'm thinking that may very well be the best way forward. And the reason for this, what I want to do is have the pavement coming around here and going along there, but then this section here will actually be a road. So the road will come around like so and then go down there. Now this wall here is going to be very small if I just do it to there, whereas if I do a 48 by 48 base plate, it'll come all the way down there, which is going to enable it to look a little bit more impressive. The only other option I could do is I could add another 16 by 32 base plate onto the end, have it all come along here and then go straight. So it still gives it that nice, interesting look to the building. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to Mills plate this section up here, then get a large 48 by 48 base plate and do a similar sort of design just to map out how the building would be and see which one I prefer. Here is the first option for the Gotham Stock Exchange, and the gaps between the multicolour bricks here would be where there would be windows. On this section here I would have another building, and that would be just a small building of some description, whether it's like a newsagent or a donut shop or something along those lines. So that is the first option. And here is option 2, which is using the 48 by 48 base plate, and this time I've mirror imaged it, so the building's going in the opposite direction. And what I would do here is I was thinking about putting this so it ends up going towards the raised platform area. So in theory, it would be ending up just going sort of like over towards here. So the road would go along to that section there, and then you would have all of the buildings along that part. I do think it would look quite good in that section just there, because I think the Stock Exchange near Wayne Tower would look good. The bank near Wayne Tower would also be another good addition to that. So it's almost like a financial district within Gotham City. I'm just trying to work out how to do the pavement along this side of the building that goes off in a 45-degree angle. At the moment I have this plate here which is connected using the hinge piece just there. I'll tile underneath it and put these hinges every so often to keep that all in place. Then the road will just rest up against the side of it. The advantages with doing this are that I can have the tiles so they're square with the road, and I think that will be in keeping with the rest of the city and look pretty good. Now the other option I've got is I could use some of the 45-degree bricks such as these, and they can go on top of that, and then I can put the plates on top of that part as well. So let's just move the hinge out of the way. So that will go like that. Now the disadvantage with that is you have got the gap just there. And another problem that you can also have by doing it this method as well, is when that next plate's there, as you can see, there is a gap even bigger just on that point just there. So again, I don't think that is the way forward. So I think I'm going to go for the first option. So I think that's going to be the best way. The other thing I've just realised as well is I've put a pavement on this side of the building as well. However, I've just recently moved the GCPD so it's right against the edge, and I'm putting the roads and pavements all on its own base plate. So I just need to move that wall over to the side there. So there's no necessity for these grey plates on there. I can save those for the actual mock. I had put some plates underneath the pavement bit here. There was 2 plates and it was resting on the tile, and then I was going to be putting the road straight up against this. And I thought by putting these 45-degree slopes, that was going to join up perfectly with a straight road along this edge just here. However, due to the fact that the slope goes and then it goes back a little bit, slope back a little bit, it means you're working your way away from the edge. With this bit flush here, there's quite a gap by the time you get just 4 slopes in. I need to see if there are other pieces I can use to finish the end of the road off in a more flush manner. Another option would be to tuck the road underneath the pavement, which would work, and I can just stagger the bricks all the way along, and the same on this side, and then the pavement will cover up the jagged edge on both sides, and that would work out perfectly. However, the problem with this, I wouldn't be able to have any lines down the middle of the road because the bricks are going square as opposed to diagonally. The only other option I've got is to make this fully pedestrianised outside here, and I could put some trees, bushes, chairs and bits and pieces like that, and then just have the road coming along here. So I just need to work out what's going to be the best option. First of all, I'm just going to have a little bit of an experimentation, seeing if there are other slopes I can use here. I've got a couple in mind, like the cheese wedges, for example. They might work better. So let's have a look at that, and then once we've worked something out, we'll check back in and show you how we're going forward. And progress is finally being made. And what I've done, I've staggered the bricks here, as you can see, and I've used these triangular tile pieces and put them on top of 2 plates, and that is perfectly flush with the top of the brick on the snot road there. Now I can do that all the way along on the edge here, and then I do the same on this side as well. This will be brick built in the middle, and that'll be kept in place perfectly on there. It enables me to put the lines in the road, which is all good. The other option I've got is by using the plate I've got here, putting the tiles on again, and then putting this on a turntable, and then again that can slide on that edge there, and the bricks would come all the way up to it. So there are 2 different options here that I feel I can use. I'm confident I'll be able to get this road sorted out, have the smooth edge on here, which is going to join up to a road with no problems at all. What it's going to enable me to do now is concentrate on the actual building or the foundations of this, getting this pavement all sorted out. So I'm going to put 2 more rows of plate under there, as I originally did. Put some tiles so it's all nice and firm, and then put the wedge plates like I've got here all the way along. So let's get that section all finished off now. And then once we've done so, I can make a start on doing the walls for the actual building. And that's the pavement area all sorted, and this has taken hours to get sorted. Just trying to work out the best way of getting this flush and connected to this section just over here has been really difficult. I don't know why. It's a 45-degree angle and it should have been straightforward, but for some reason I've made hard work of it. But anyway, it's all there now. That's the main thing. So I can now build the brick wall along here for the main building, and then around that side as well. And hopefully a couple of hinges will also help keep that all in place. And then once we've done that, further down the line, I'll be able to stick the road in here and sort out the parts down here as I showed you earlier. So that's enough talking. Let's get building. And here we have the base of the stock exchange, and I'm just trying to get as many details as possible into this wall. In the building they used in The Dark Knight Rises, the walls were nice and smooth, which I would like to try and keep a little bit, but also I don't want it to be too boring. The pavement here is going to be the same colour as these walls, so I need to try and make sure there is some variety of some description there and something that distinguishes it and breaks it up a little bit, hence the dark bluish grey on the window frames there. Now the window frames, they're actually 4 wide pieces, but I've put them on a jumper plate and then just put 3 studs in width there, just so that it is that little bit narrower. It makes the window look that little bit taller. I have got some 3 wide window frames, however they would only come up by about 3 bricks I think it is, and I don't particularly want the lines going across on the windows. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to carry on building these walls up, and then once we've got a design that we're happy with, I'll check back in and show you what it looks like. And here we have the side of the stock exchange. I'm really pleased with how this is coming along so far. I'm thinking about changing up these dark bluish grey slopes for the light bluish grey. And underneath this wall section, there will be a row of dark bluish grey tiles. And that will just help to break up the pavement to the wall. Otherwise, I think it'll look too continuous going along there. I'm not 100% sure on the ingots, but again, if I don't have them there, it will be another tile of some description just to break it up. but it's all coming on really nicely. On this mock, I'm considering having this wall as a removable wall, the same as what I did on the first GCPD flat iron building, so you can pull it out just to see inside there. It may be easier than making a floor that goes on here to clip onto it, purely because of the way the studs are on there. But and the reason for that is there is a very slight gap down the inside there, so I don't think it's going to fit flushly. But anyway, I'll cross that bridge a little bit later. And I've made a couple of amendments to the building. Previously I had the 2x4 tile and the 1x4 tile going up here. I'm just putting these curved slopes on, as I feel it might just give the building just a little bit more shape and character. Obviously it is taking it away from the source material that I was basing it on, but again, that was just for inspiration. But anyway, I'm going to carry on building all that around, and once I've got that all finished, I'll make a start on that wall. And I'm going to do it so that wall is permanently attached to start with, just so I know that I like it. And then if I do, then I can sort of like make it the removable section that I mentioned earlier. So let's carry on building up, and once we've got a little bit more made on here, I'll show you what it's looking like. And here is the latest progress on the Gotham Stock Exchange, and there's something about the base of this that I'm not 100% happy with, and I think it might be this right angle on here and also these curved parts on here. Now at the moment this building is reminding me too much of Gringotts, with whether it's the style of this part here, I'm not sure, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull this front section off, and I want to angle the wall at the front here so it's going more back, sort of almost not square with this section here, but just so there is a little bit more variety on there. And here is the new angle on the front of the stock exchange. I'm much happier with how this is starting to look. As you can see, I've put the first 2 steps in as well, which again is helping with that angle. I've got to redo the plate section just down here. There was one that was going too far over this way, so I wasn't able to put a tile on either direction, and there would have been a hole there. If I can persist having that problem, I might just put a tree or something over the top of it. But what I'm going to do now is carry on building the walls back up to cover this front section over and see how it looks. And here we have the revised front of the stock exchange building, and a lot happier with how this is looking now. I've gone over to the 1x4 tiles on here as opposed to using the curved slopes. And I put the 1x cylinders down there just to fill in the gaps on both sides. And I feel by changing the angle of the front of that, it's really transformed the shape of the building. Not having that right angle on that side is definitely an improvement. Obviously still got all of the interior to do, but as I mentioned earlier, all of the interiors of these buildings I will concentrate on further down the line. I just want to make sure that the buildings, the layout of the city is all correct. I don't want to spend hours and hours doing the inside of this, only to decide later on that I've made the wrong shape building and have to change it. At least if I do sort of like think further down the line that the shape's wrong, I can just peel the side off and put it at a different angle, and then that's the problem solved. Anyway, that's all we've got time for. Hope you've enjoyed this update. If you have, please give us a big thumbs up. If you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to the channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future content on the channel. And please show your family and friends. Anyway, thanks for walking by. See you next time. Bye for now.